What's up, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on the Teen Mom 2 Season 9 Reunion Part 2. Really quick before we jump into it, if you're in Toronto or the Toronto area, next Friday I'm going to be at like an event for my friend. She's got a makeup pop-up shop. I'm going to be there. If you want to come by and say hi, definitely feel free to. I'll leave all the details in the link before. Anyway, let's get into the recap of what went down on Part 2 of the reunion special. Jenelle is still crying backstage about the confrontation that Nessa had with her about Colin Kaepernick, and she's still claiming to not know who he is, which, you know, Nessa already called as BS. She also claims that she doesn't dislike Colin Kaepernick. It's David who dislikes her, and she claims that like the hate messages against him were on her Facebook page by like people who post ads and all that, but that's another lie because there was no ad behind it. It was just a rant. It did seem that it was David who went on her account, but that's another question. Why is your husband on your Facebook account ranting about people when he could do that on his very own? She ultimately agrees to get back on stage when her mother Barbara decides to accompany her, and they move on to talk about how none of the girls want to associate with her because of David, and Jenelle doesn't even acknowledge what that says about her husband.
They have alienated Jenelle out of this group of girls for years. You have Randy, Chelsea's father, was putting horrible things on the internet about Jenelle. Why can't they just leave
I honestly
alone?
don't.
Barbara actually brings up Randy talking about Jenelle on Twitter, and Jenelle claims that there are so many good things happening in her life and in her household that MTV just refuses to put on the show. And we all know that the lie detector test determined that was a lie. One thing that was really satisfying about her scenes was the fact that we learned that David and Jenelle only found out about him being fired on Twitter like the rest of us. Like, that gave me a good ass laugh. Next up, Dr. Drew asked Jenelle why she's not upset at David for burning every bridge in her life, both personal and professional.
How come you're not mad at David for burning all those bridges, sending those threatening notes, putting himself in this position?
Because I love him.
No,
He's
I know
a great
you love
father.
him.
And she claims that she actually does confront him about all the issues that he causes when they're at home, but in public, she wants to put on a united front and not criticize her man. It's really crazy to see how hard Jenelle goes to bat for her husband, but never for her children. Remember, this is the same woman who's been calling in sick on visiting her kids and flat out just refusing to other times, allegedly. When we come back from commercial break, Kail and Poppy share the couch, and Kail throws shade at Eli being an unplanned baby.
Was this a planned pregnancy?
Wasn't planned. We hung out. I mean, we had a good night.
Like she wasn't running around town conceiving miracle babies in mall parking lots her damn self. She also issues another self-drag by claiming that Poppy has babies with women in order to trap them, as if, again, Lux was not a baby to trap Chris. Like, these two really are two peas in a pod if what she's saying is true. Next up, we get Kail and V on a couch together, and we see a montage of Kail painting V as a drug addict, hood rat hoe, who's dangerous around her kids. And then they cry about how beautiful their relationship is now. And I think that eventually Kail and Lauren are going to get to this place as well. But like, Kail and V's beautiful relationship is the result of V having the patience of a god dealing with nasty ass Petty Betty as she berated her at every turn for years. And I think Lauren is in for the same damn thing. Now, I'm really gonna zoom through Briana's part because honestly, it was the exact same thing that we saw in part 1 already. Like, she and Devoin are still talking about like him getting drunk by the pool when he was supposed to be watching Nova. Apparently, Devoin hasn't been allowed to speak with Nova since the incident. And he also acknowledges that he could potentially have some kind of substance abuse problem. Last up, we have Chelsea. Chelsea seemed really spunky and happy, and she tells us that dads don't babysit when Dr. Drew asked her how Cole does babysitting, quote unquote, the kids when she wasn't around in that one episode that I did not watch. She also mentioned wanting to have 1 or 2 more kids in the future. One sad thing we learned about her burglary was the fact that the people had actually taken a pearl bracelet that she received as a wedding gift from Cole. Like, oh, that was like really sad to hear. By the way, I was surprised to learn that Adam had been visiting Aubree at school lunches consistently for the past few weeks alongside his mother.
Is Adam still visiting Aubree during her lunch?
Yes. He has been going to lunch, I think, almost every week with his mom.
Okay. Is this helpful? Or?
I don't know. It's great that he's seeing her.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. But it's frustrating because he couldn't make the effort to go out of his way to go to the visitation center where he has to pay So then he just goes whenever it's convenient. It always seems like it's convenience. I mean, I don't know what to do. Like, do I not allow lunch visits now?
But then at the same time, I was also shocked to learn that Chelsea wasn't very happy with that. She was like, you know, like he's consistently going to visit her at school for these school lunches, but he's not going to the visitation center where he has to pay. And I think I asked in the live chat, like, what the big difference was, like how long are school lunches versus how long are these supervised visitations? Is the money he pays for the supervised visitation going towards child support? And you know, I'm kind of curious what you guys feel about that. Is the money worth it enough to cut off Adam from consistently visiting his daughter, or no? You know, that is a really big question that I have for you guys. I feel like it's really tough. She blames it on an inconsistency thing, but it seems like he's consistently visiting her at school. So I really don't know what to make of the entire situation. In the final leg of Chelsea's segment, her dad Randy joins us and mentions how he's not in favor of Chelsea and Cole leaving adoption up to Aubree as a decision. He's like, it's a really huge decision. You don't want to stress like a child out with that. You're supposed to, as a parent, do what's in her best interests. You guys know how I feel about the situation. I do think that Chelsea should, at this moment, do her best to strip Adam's rights, but I don't think that she necessarily needs to have Cole adopt Aubree either. You know, like in case things don't work out with her and him, it'll be easier for her to just have a casual arrangement with him for seeing Aubree, you know, the way that Kail has one with Javi and Isaac. Like, I think that would probably be the best, most convenient way to handle this situation. Chelsea also says that she thinks that Aubree would actually be better off without Adam in the picture than him coming in and out of her life, and she says that they would still maintain their relationship with Adam's parents unofficially as well. See, that's why I feel like, you know, Chelsea, just take that little custody for yourself and, you know, arrange everything else, like, you know, on a more like trust by trust basis. In the last little bit of her segment, Dr. Drew confronted her dad Randy about talking crap about Jenelle on Twitter and asked if he genuinely was concerned about Janelle's like alleged abuse when he was talking about her, and Randy didn't really answer the question. He like kind of like swerved it and instead was like, you know, like I know what happens behind the scene. I've been on the show with her for like 10 years now. I'm frustrated by the wrong decisions she make, but that didn't answer the question, which was, do you genuinely worry about her well-being when you're out there tweeting about her? And I found that pretty damn interesting. Anyway, you guys, that wraps up what went down on the Teen Mom 2 Season 9 Reunion Special Part 2. As usual, I'm more excited to hear what you have to say about everything, so please make sure to leave all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.